Welcome back to Off the Thread Reds. We're a group chat of above average Reds fans. Overreact, overanalyze, keep coming back for more. In today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about our reactions to the National Series and play a little Monday morning quarterback on our Cincinnati Reds like what we do always. The one thing, though, we'll kind of keep on track here is making sure we inform you with Hunter Greene's injury as that kind of progresses. But let's start with the National Series. Dylan, boys ain't looking too hot. We get swept by the Nats going in. We were thinking we're going to be doing the sweeping. No. We were the dust. They were the broom, and didn't end so well. So what are your thoughts on the Nats series?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to switch, Procter & Gamble sponsors for a Swiffer from having it in our possession and then now flipping it over to Washington for this 3-game series as well. So, we always joked about just getting as close as possible to 500. So over a 6-game stretch, this team is a 500 baseball team, which is what we've always kind of driven towards. So really, really stinks, I would say, for just like momentum to be dropped. Probably some of the worst couple of days, I would say, from not even like really close games at all in Washington. We saw a lot of pop, I would say, with the team versus the Athletics, where we were able to win those close one-run games and just came out completely flat on the road. So not too much to write home about, honestly. It's almost like we just kind of like our starting pitchers. Obviously, the first game was kind of a bullpen game, and Kirby, you can kind of run through all the pitchers that were out there for the first game. But Saturday, Sunday games just, kind of flat from starting pitchers. Kind of rough to see Chase Burns out there getting lit up a little bit on Saturday. Just kind of when we needed hits the most, we could not manufacture them whatsoever. Had plenty of runners on base all weekend, but could not convert them and actually get them across the plate. So I feel like the series last time we played Washington this year, same thing happened. TJ Abrams had a couple of home runs and their best players kind of shined. And I think that happened once again. So whatever the tape we had just continued to not do any good for our team here. So, I think some positives, obviously seeing Gino hit a couple of home runs as well is always a good thing. I think both were solo home runs, I believe. So not super impactful from an overall runs perspective, but at least getting him some mojo back to get some value from now until the end of September on his contract, or for this year, I should say, for Gino. So overall, really, really bummed, I would say. Didn't get a chance to watch all the games from start to finish, but was checking in and just was never in a happy place looking at the score because we were losing pretty much from the get-go on all 3 of these games, for this series. So all in all, I think it's a big bummer to give those 3 games back that we just worked really, really hard for. But that's kind of where we're at in the season. You got to move on and accept that this team is at best a 500 team over a 6-game stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you said it best, like we're still 500 and that's what we are. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, the Reds did what the Reds were going to do. It was just funny. I was like texting one of my coworkers and they sent me like, oh, Reds getting swept and everything. I was like, I would say I can't believe that the Reds just got swept by the Nats. But in retrospect, I can 100% believe all of it because I don't know, it's just something the Reds might do. But yeah, I mean, you said kind of like our bats. I think like the Nationals bats just hit throughout the whole series. We were super streaky like what we've been all year. When we thought we were kind of getting hot, getting back into the game, the Nats would go and have a big inning. So it just never let us kind of get in a roll that way. Bullpen day, like what you said, I mean, it's when you have a bullpen day, it's going to be a rough day. And I'm going to be honest, only giving up 5 runs on a bullpen day and our bullpen's kind of used. I mean, I would take it. I just wish we would kind of hit a little more going into that. It's a tough day when, like, no offense, when you have Chase Petty go and he's able to only get you an inning and 2/3 for being the starter in a bullpen day. And you're like, dude, I wish he could have gotten us 3. So you knew it was kind of going to be bad going into that. But the plus side on that game, Luis May. I don't know if anybody had a chance to kind of break that down. Dude, he was a dog. Luis May pitched 2 2/3. He had 4 Ks. I mean, his stuff was on. So, I mean, that's kind of silver lining of that game where, hey, maybe he can have some production. But off of that, I mean, Burns didn't look great the second game. Third game, today's game, or if you're listening to it tomorrow, yesterday's game, Singer was just doing Singer things. 3 earned runs. I mean, 6 innings. That's what he does. I wish the Reds would have kind of stayed on it a little more in the game, and they kind of, again, they couldn't get their bats rolling. And the cool thing, Suarez, thousandth game for the Reds. able to go out and hit a home run. Ooh, that was a tough sentence. Hector Rodriguez, first major league hit, was a double, smoked in the gap. Nice to see that. But last thing is Sal seems to be kind of struggling. And I know, Dylan, you got a couple kind of thoughts on that one. So go ahead and take that one away.
Yeah. Just for for the listeners too, real quick, just kind of a recap of the scores, because I know sometimes the weekend games and series go a little bit under the radar. So I said I didn't watch all the games from start to finish. So I was watching my phone most of the time. So Friday was a loss 5-3. That was the bullpen game that Kirby's talking about. We had Chase Betty on the bump, and I feel like those types of bullpen games, the magic inning number is 3. I would say if you can get whoever you toss out there for the first pitch, try to get at least into the third or through the third, and I feel like everything opens up from there. Couldn't quite get it done, and obviously one of those games that you just kind of hope the ball bounces your way for that one. So Friday was a loss 5-3. Saturday was a Chase Burns game where he got lit up a little bit later in the game. So I think he had like 5 earned by the time he was done with that outing. Weird to see him actually now increase his loss total on the year. He goes to 13-2. I think it was the longest stretch of 10 or 11 straight games of a decision, a win decision that he led. So incredible stretch, and just shows his trajectory as a starting pitcher for the Reds. So he drops to 13-2, still an amazing record from win-loss perspective. That was Saturday, lost 8-2. And then today just kind of came out flat. That was a loss 7-1. So big swing, obviously, not good getting swept. But kind of what I was thinking before this, Curb, what I want to talk to you about was Sal had, I do think he is the future of this team, and I hope every single day that we're able to get some type of contract done with him. The number is only going to go up on his side of things. But the one thing that I thought was a really interesting spot was that I remember seeing him for the first time showing some real emotion on the field rather than like in the dugout or rallying some of the guys. But he had a bases loaded 1 out position where I think Ellie just got walked the man before, and he just absolutely smoked a ball up the middle, 1 hop right to the second baseman that led to double play that ended the inning. And he was hustling up the baseline, trying to beat it out, and then just like threw his helmet up the first baseline. They zoomed in him on the broadcast as well. Whatever it was this entire stretch, he just really struggled on some of the key moments, I think, of when he typically steps up. He's so good also early in the inning. I think he is one of the better just get on base guys that we have. But his calling card this year was, it's so far is that he's, up there with the RBI totals for the rest of the major league. I mean, as a rookie in the top 3 RBI producer is just an absolute machine. So I was really disappointed that like a couple of these moments, I feel like he just loves the big game, loves to have runners on base. He's so good in that position, as he clearly shown, and just kind of fell flat a little bit these last couple of games. But kind of, I don't know. I don't know why that stuck out so much of that bases loaded moment, but him throwing his helmet up the line, like this dude cares so much. Like every single pitch he's watching intently. My favorite thing about him too is that whenever he is down in the count 0-2 or 1-2, he has a completely different approach and has no fear of fouling a ball off as well. And Barry Larkin on the broadcast talks about this all the time of like top hand back control, the art of fouling off a pitch to just live for another day. And I think he embodies that so well, which is why so many, baseball guys and Barry himself loves him so much at the plate. So was desperately hoping he'd step up and continue his stretch of these RBI, the streak that he has going on. I think he is dueling with CJ Abrams at the moment, who plays for the Nationals. So it's kind of a good head-to-head moment for that piece. So I don't know any conclusions, I guess, there. I think he loves the game. I was really hoping he'd step up and deliver some runs there with the bases loaded. But ended up, grounding into a double play. Just better defense, I guess, of where the ball was hitting. But any thoughts on your side, Curb, of just like his performance over the weekend or just outlook for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's nice to see is he does care. I mean, he cares a lot. You can watch him like during at bats, like what you said, like his mentality, what he's looking for, how intense he is. I mean, him being able to bring that throughout the whole year, I mean, that's huge. The one thing, like, you always got to tell yourself, like, his numbers don't lie. He's a really good baseball player, but baseball sucks. And as a player, you realize that real quick, where like he could be doing everything right, but he just only gets one hit in the series. I mean, that's just the way the game is. I guarantee you he's going to correct everything going in the White Sox series. Radar, if you're a betting man, I would, look for a home run or hit total upcoming series for Sal Stewart because he's too good of a player for this to continue. But no, you're right. I mean, there was a lot of things this series that was frustrating. Like, I guess the Sal Stewart thing kind of brings it all together where you can tell the Reds are trying. It's not like they think this series is a wash or this season's a wash. I mean, they're trying throughout the whole time. It's tough when you go out there and, I mean, it's major leagues. Everybody's good. Even a team like the Nationals, you have a chance to be swept by. So, like, I mean, that's just baseball. I think it's more of like dang, this series really impacts everything we have going forward now. And I think the players knew that. And I like what you kind of bring up about Sal, like his intensity, because it's tough and it's hard to watch. He's a young player too. He's got a bright future, but
Yeah,
my
I do think
analysis summary is baseball sucks. That's it.
and that's the coin term. That's baseball. It's a game of outcomes. I'm just laughing because I think the Nationals are in a pretty similar position to the Reds right now. They're like, I mean, they're closer than we are to the wild card spot. But I think I'm just laughing with the idea that there's an equivalent Off the Thread Reds podcast for the Nationals, like an Off the Threads Nationals that's like fired up about sweeping the Reds right now and be like, CJ Abrams the best. The future is so bright. Like, I know they were pretty active at the deadline and got somebody and traded a couple guys. So I don't know why that just popped into my brain, but like two evenly positioned teams, and everyone's going to be happy or sad about the outcome of a series. So if there isn't an Off the Thread Nationals, maybe we can kick one up for our friends over in Washington.
I mean, that's so funny. You know what actually makes me more frustrated about that is the Nationals actually played the deadline the way they should have and kind of were sellers, but they have a better record than us. It's like, gosh darn it, Reds. But yeah, no. I mean, that's the series. I mean, we could go on about it. Luckily, we got a day off. We need a day off tomorrow and go and play the White Sox on Tuesday. But all right, let's get into our Hunter Greene update injury, and we'll kind of keep you guys updated throughout this end of the season going into the fall. So kind of just all in all, Hunter Greene has a partial UCL tear that was confirmed. What they're going to do is go through and do surgery. As of right now, they don't know if it's quote unquote Tommy John surgery or not. They're kind of go in and see what they can do to repair it. So maybe they can repair it without having to add new ligament into the location. That's what Tommy John is. So we'll kind of see. The one thing, though, is a bummer if you guys are YouTube watchers or on Spotify with the video, you guys can kind of see a couple things. First off, this timeline of this surgery is nasty. There are some people saying that he probably might not even pitch next year, which going off of what we're kind of dealing with, that would take a huge blow to the Reds. The other thing is it kind of shuffles around our rotation a lot. That goes into not just 2026, really 2027. This might have a lasting impact where we have to go out and find an arm. And I'm going to be honest with you, this kind of makes me feel weird because they didn't let Brady Singer go. Did the Reds maybe knew something that, we didn't know going into the trade deadline where he did have some discomfort, where Brady Singer signage actually does make sense? I mean, that's tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, Reds fan coming out. But again, this is all just as of right now. There's no confirmed 100% things of his surgery yet. But Dylan, I don't know, thoughts on this? I know this is a long probably discussion we're going to have throughout the fall, but what do you think about this injury?
It's so disappointing for everybody involved. I think just like some of the quick reads and headlines you see across all the platforms, there's a lot of like, everyone has a conspiracy theory about this. HG is one of those like truly franchise defining pitchers and can go such a positive direction when he is fully healthy. But like that has been the biggest calling card for him, is that he can't be healthy. And so this just unfortunately adds one more layer to that story. And he's one of these young prodigy guys that had Tommy John when he was 18 or 19. It's like all these things, compounding. I feel so bad for him and his career that he has to go through these types of things, and not saying that he's not game for that, but I'm sure he wants nothing more than, to get out there and shove like he did a couple of years ago. So that's like the player side of things. And as we always say, we are a players first podcast, because I think we need to protect the players and have them be in the best position possible to get out and do the thing that they love to do. I think it is one of the biggest debacles ever in the Reds history that we had no type of inclination of this was happening prior to this season. It is baffling to me that he even landed on, the IL to start the year with the bone chip surgery. Like, how is that not being communicated between the player and our health organization and everyone involved in our recovery team? And I think this is even just one more step down the road as well, where we saw, outing after outing, recovery, long toss, like all these AAA games that he threw. Like, it's very, very hard to believe that there was no sign or no additional attention to keep him healthy for this year. And maybe this was something that was going to happen regardless of how he was performing for this year. Maybe this was a complication from the surgery. There's so many question marks that us sitting in a podcast chair, we don't know the answer to. But I hate this is going to tarnish his legacy a little bit for the short term. I mean, a lot of us have a short term memory, I would say, and if you ask any Reds fan, this is going to be up there with like a biggest what if, I think, of a starting pitcher. I think our organization has been so flush with amazing starting pitchers over the years. I think of like Homer Bailey. I think of Luis Castillo for a long stretch, Johnny Cueto, like all these names that are nationally recognized. And Hunter was up there for the bulk of his young career. And now he's getting pulled year after year, kind of out of the mix of conversation. And with his contract coming up in the next couple of years, it's like, man, you can't help but ask, like, did this waste the bulk of his prime, shoving years as a young starting pitcher who throws gas? So it's such a unfortunate scenario. And it's like, did we rush him back for this year? Like, was it worth it to bring him back? It's kind of a conversation around like when Joe got hurt last year too, like why rush him back if the Bengals are not in a playoff position? Could that be a conversation people are having now with Hunter for this year? So I think it's so unfortunate. And I think it is a knock on our organization for not being more heads up about this. And I think there's going to be some type of additional, I would say investigation, but like research going on around how did we not catch this? And this year, especially, we've been one of the more injury-ridden starting rotations, and it just makes you think about like our resources being pulled from those areas. What could have we done differently? And this is a long, grueling recovery, like you said, Kirby, like 12 to 18 months, I think is what it says typically. And it's like, man, that puts you firmly back into next fall, where the Reds are probably going to be out of contention already. And it's like, does he want to come back to push it and work towards it? So I don't know. I'll kind of stop there for a second. My heart goes out to him. I obviously wish for a speedy recovery and that he gets back out there as soon as possible. But I just cannot believe that we didn't have any inclination of what this was before the news broke or how he was feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like player first, right? I don't want to go in here and just absolutely ream Hunter Greene, but I think there's a huge disconnect between, Hunter Greene's team and the Reds organization because there's a lot going on, going into this year. I feel bad because he wants to pitch, and this injury, I think it's going to tarnish kind of our outlook as fans on what Hunter Greene did for the Reds over his tenure because. I mean, if he misses all 2027, we got him for another year, and I don't know. We'll see what happens after that. So I don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air, and I mean, this is going to be a great talking point as we go forward. So I don't want to, talk too much on it, but I do see the Reds. I don't know. The Reds are going to have to make a lot of adjustments from their pitching standpoint here in the next couple of years. And now this goes to show they messed up in the trade deadline because they should have stocked minor league arms, and they didn't. There's a lot of different things, but you never know. Hindsight's 2020 because you didn't know that he was going to be injured. So, all right.
I mean,
go ahead.
And last thing too, real quick, this does now like firmly put us in the position that we have to do all the calculations for next year of our rotation without Hunter. Obviously, if he's going to have any surgery, we'll put him out for the beginning of the year. But like, you have to do the math that he is not to be expected for next year, and that forces the hand for us to have to do something. So I'm kind of excited about that to see what it is, but it's going to be a Band-Aid fix most likely because there was no action at the deadline. And I agree that was a prime opportunity to try and stock some young arms to replenish, and we did not take the chance.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of, off the kind of what we were talking about. I'm very curious if the Reds do this. Zach Littell last year, remember we picked him up. I think he just got DFA'd.
I did see that. Yeah.
I'm curious if the Reds swoop him up. I mean, he would fill a big void, but I don't know. You never know.
Hey, if we do somehow make the wild card, he can start one of the games for us like he did last year. People forget, Curb. We had Andrew Abbott ready to go, and we threw out Zach Littell. Come on. What are we doing?
What are we? Oh my god! Whatever. That's for
Yeah.
another time. That's for another time. All right, let's go ahead and get into I guess our talking point, which is kind of on the same kind of tone that we've been in this episode, but the Red season. After being swept by the Nats, we have a lot of things going against us. So I'm just going to read a list of things for the listeners out there of different things that might make the seasons feel like it's probably over. So first off, we are 6 games back from the wild card. A lot of baseball left, but we are 6 games back. Hunter Greene is not on the team anymore, basically. He's gone. Starting pitching is kind of in shambles. Might be seeing a lot more bullpen games throughout the season. We can't find production at the plate and more, I guess, specific, consistent production at the plate. And last thing is we have the 4th toughest schedule remaining in the MLB. So there's a lot of things going up against us. I mean, me being optimistic, I'm going to watch all the games. Maybe we'll sweep 2. Maybe we'll win 6 in a row, Dylan. Maybe something crazy happens and we get to 500 and, baseball is baseball. But I mean, what are your thoughts after, hearing that list that was just read?
Oh man, it's like just 1 step forward, 3 steps back is kind of how this feels right now. I don't know. I think we just need to hope for fun moments, not a fun outcome. Yeah, I've never really heard like strength of the schedule be used so much within MLB, but like if you are, while you're listening, just quickly Google like the September schedule for the Reds and you'll laugh. If you have any inclination of what our schedule looks like in September, it's insane. And so we had the luxury of going to the ballpark last week or on Wednesday for the A's game, which they did pull out a win, which was awesome. So Kirby and I had a great time watching the game, but we were just joking about any progress that we were making after, we swept the A's after that last game would be just completely lost here in the month of September with the end of that schedule. So that even seeing it now with how what we're trending at, obviously it makes it even worse to see the strength of schedule. But not a lot of faith that we can make any progress, I would say. So I think now that we're like all the question marks have settled on the trade deadline, like we know who we have on our team, like I just want to get up as many young prospects in AAA in Louisville right now up to the bigs just to see how they look. And why not give them a chance to see better pitching and play the field a little bit better just to kind of see what we can prepare for over the next year or 2 years or so. So that's where I'm at. I mean, definitely we'll still be watching a lot of the games. I like some of the pitching matchups that we have coming up the pike. So we'll see, but super not positive, I would say, even if we do go on a little bit of a run, like if we somehow, win the series against the White Sox and whoever we got next after that, I don't think there's any grounds for us to maintain through the month of August and then into an absolute death row of September. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you said it. You said it the best. Like, it doesn't matter how much ground we're going to gain here in the next 3 weeks. Like, I don't think there's enough we can get to feel comfortable going into September. For the listeners out there, September starts with San Diego, then it goes Milwaukee, then it goes to Dodgers, then it goes back to Milwaukee, and then we play the Dodgers again. And then after that, we go Cubs, and then we go Atlanta Braves. And then we're probably going to play a Blue Jays team who's trying to make the wild card in the AL. So, like, I don't know how that's the 4th. That should be the first hardest. I don't know, but like it's insane. So I don't know. I mean, some magic's going to happen in August. I mean, not having Hunter Greene, I understand it's one player, yeah, but like starting pitching in baseball for people who like it's basically like losing a quarterback for like half a game. Like not having a starting pitcher or a starting pitcher of that caliber is just, it impacts everything. But hey, on a real note though, we do have the White Sox. If we win the series against the White Sox, we have Miami, who's in shambles like us. We have the Cardinals, who are in shambles just like us. So you never know. And we play the Giants. So maybe something crazy. I don't think anything. I'm just trying to be too optimistic right now. But let's go ahead. Let's tease into the Reds versus White Sox series. So day off tomorrow, they're going to be playing, or day off today if you're listening on Monday. They're going to be playing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We got Lodolo, Louder, and then Abbott. So, I mean, we got dudes. Lodolo, I'm going to be for sure tuning into that one. That's his first game back since his rehab stint. White Sox, it's going to be really cool. So Tuesday, we go up against Burke. He's a right-handed pitcher for him. But then on Wednesday, it's Louder versus Castillo. So we get to see Luis Castillo back on the bump against us. His disgusting changeup. Probably going to strike out 15 times, but hey, it's going to be fun to watch him. And then Thursday, crossing fingers, White Sox don't have a starter yet listed, so maybe it's a bullpen day on their end. I'd love for Abbott to go against that, just get him kind of get right game. But I don't know, thoughts on this White Sox series going into the week?
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I think Lodolo has a lot to prove, so I think he's excited to get back out there. I don't think his AAA stints were super, I don't know, super positive, I would say, at least from a performance perspective, but maybe he has his action back, which is good. And I don't know. I hope he can somehow deal with this blister injury. He can fix it somehow. I have no idea. That's the biggest question mark of it all. Like, it's like, how does he still have blisters? I don't know. So yeah, that'll be cool. I think the White Sox are like a fun team to watch too. Like they're super under the radar, kind of the national fan favorite team of the year, I think, just because they were so bad for the last couple of years and have some young, fun players. The South Side Samurai, as we talked about previously, who's up there, leading or top 10 in home runs for the year as a rookie as well. So like they have a lot to be excited about. They made a little move, getting Castillo at the trade deadline. I think it was a little bit of a salary shove from Seattle, but I think it'll be really, really good. Louder, actually had a pretty good outing going deep into the game on last Wednesday that we actually watched live. So he was pretty impressive live that I was excited for. He has not done a great job of holding up that same performance week after week or start after start. So I do suspect a little bit of a downtrend, unfortunately. And then I just hope Abbott in the daytime, can shine on Thursday at 2 p.m. So, yeah, I think you can go in with a lot of expectations. I don't think we'll win the series, just the way that we're trending and the way that we're playing right now. But I do suspect a couple of big homers. I think Sal is a really good number against Castillo on Wednesday. For whatever reason, I feel like he would just see the ball coming out of Castillo's hand really well. Ellie, on the other hand, I think is going to see it really poorly. So I think he is going to maybe not have the best game on Wednesday. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's one of those series that we don't get to play the White Sox that often. So it'll be fun to see them play each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's going to be a lot of fun baseball to watch. I'm actually really excited to see this White Sox team play. But I think from a Red standpoint, everything you want in a series is there for you, right? So, I mean, maybe some crazy thing can happen. We can pull off a series win and maybe get a little more than that. But I think what I'm going to be looking for as a fan going into this series is Sal Stewart turnaround, a Rhett Louder performance that's going to pull off. And I'm really excited to see Luis Castillo. I'm genuinely excited. I miss seeing him pitch every couple days. So it'll be kind of cool. But all right, Dylan, final thoughts on our Reds before we wrap up this episode.
Just hang in there, everybody. Just there's going to be some good news coming at some point. I don't know where from or about who. Maybe it is Sal Stewart at some point, but soak it in while you can. The things that we're hearing from the CBA for the lockout next year, things are not looking so good. So maybe we should do a little update, a little ear on the street for our listeners at some point. Maybe next week we can do a little just kind of rumors and headlines that we've heard, so we can plan that for the schedule. But I don't know. I'm just trying to end with a little positive pump up speech for everyone listening, I suppose. But football is almost here as well. I'll end with that one. We got a couple weeks before first week one for the Bengals. So I don't know. Yeah. There you go, Curb. You got it. You got it. What do you have, Curb? Anything? What do you have? Anything good?
Right. Listen here. We might not have baseball next year. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're listening and it's the end of this episode, you're 30 minutes into Off the Thread Reds, and the Reds are 6 games behind in the wild card on August 9th. You matter, all right? It doesn't matter whatever you're doing. You're watching the Reds. You're a super fan, and we appreciate it, because if it wasn't for you guys, the Reds might move to Nashville. All right. So we just got to stick with it. Be fans of this organization. Because if the Reds leave Cincinnati, don't know what I would do. I'm probably going to get into like NHL, a lot of hockey. I might become a hockey guy. So, no, on a real note, though, hey, enjoy the moments. We get to see Ellie every day. Sal Stewart's an unreal. Chase Burns is unreal. So there's a lot of things going for the Reds. We just got to kind of stick through.
One last funny story before we close here. So, as we mentioned, we were at the game on Wednesday, and quite possibly the busiest we've ever seen the riverfront on a Wednesday night. And it was not actually for the Reds game. It was for a Barry Manilow concert that was at Heritage Bank Arena. And when we say like there were floods of people that were coming out of the arena, there were floods of people, so many people. And Curb, I feel like we were a salmon upstream trying to get back to the garage that we parked in. And everyone had the biggest smile on their face. They had the glow sticks. So like there was confetti apparently for the concert as well. We saw Joey's parents there. That was cool. So if all else fails, shout out Barry Manilow for keeping it rolling. Obviously on a record selling tour at the moment, because the banks and the riverfront were absolutely packed. So if anything, pop on some Barry Manilow to end your weekend here as well.
Shout out to those guys selling Barry Manilow t-shirts, by the way, too. They're the real ones. They're the real ones. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been it for Off the Thread Reds. Don't forget to check us out on social media at OT Thread Reds on Instagram, Twitter, and don't forget to check out episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts every Monday and Thursday. We appreciate you guys like always, and go Reds.